What's up, humans, and welcome to another Psicoactivo. Second video of the day. Happy Monday, everybody. Okay, so Mr. Stephen Diener from the Unidentified Alien Podcast, who I've been on his show twice already. I hope he's on the show soon. He just interviewed Eric Burlison, the representative, who has been on the news for the past 2 weeks or so, saying all kinds of wild stuff. Whether it's true or not, that remains to be seen still. But he did come out guns blazing. He spoke about hybrids, how President Trump has been briefed about this, how David Grush convinced him that the Nazca beings are worth looking at, the big ones in Peru. And he also took back some of the comments that he made, arranged them a little bit in subsequent interviews, which is very politician-like to do. But I do appreciate that he's at least trying to find out what's happening or being vocal about trying to find out what's happening. On this interview that just released, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the entire thing. Diener did post a couple of clips that were really interesting, but I'm going to start with one that was clipped by UAP James. Shout out to UAP James for clipping this one, because this is what really stood out to me the most as well. And it's kind of shocking, I'm not going to lie. Listen, as long as they do ask for this, maybe they're not going to give them anything. I don't think, especially with how things are going right now, it's difficult. But UAP James wrote, new Representative Burlison has requested a White House briefing on their UAP special access programs and a tour of Area 51 and Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I don't know if that is realistic. I hope it happens. God damn, I do. But I don't know if it's realistic. Let's listen to what Burlison said. And shout out to UAP James. Shout out to Stephen Diener.
A lot of these special access programs are under the purview, directly under the supervision of the White House. And so we'll see. Now, I will say, and this is kind of breaking news a little bit, but just as a sidebar discussion, not as part of the negotiations, but just being in the room and talking with White House officials, I made a request for myself and Tim Burchett and Anna and the rest of the UAP caucus to get a tour of Area 51, of Wright-Patterson, and then get a full briefing from the White House on their special access programs related to UAP. And so one of those has been somewhat greenlit, and I'm still waiting to hear back from the others.
What? So it was greenlit? So they are going to one of those two places? That's wild. Let's hope it happens. If it happens, then kudos to everyone. But let's see if it happens first. Wait and see, people. Wait and see. But that's not everything he said. He also said something about the current director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, so Stephen Diener writes, officially out now, my new discussion with Representative Eric Burlison on UAP. So much was covered that I am not even sure what to highlight. The whole thing feels important, so I hope you find it worthwhile. In the meantime, here's a portion where Eric responds regarding new hearings and mentions who they are looking to bring in. First-hand witnesses, and is Tulsi Gabbard a possibility?
Yeah, we're pursuing a hearing date. We have got a list of people that we're looking at. We're actually looking at doing potentially two. One with some people that are direct whistleblowers, people that have had, when I say direct, they've had eyes directly on or have personally encountered UAP in their formal operation. Not somebody out and about like Joe Blow out there that saw something. There's thousands and thousands of people like that. Sure. We're talking about people that have worked for the Pentagon or worked in a government program where they worked in and around this technology, whether it was through crash retrieval or through reverse engineering. That's what we're pursuing right now. The next hearing after that is where we're gonna, once we get once we're able to get information, we're looking at doing some interrogatories, which is where you take some of the things that have been said in these briefings, in these hearings, in these open hearings under oath, and then we send a letter, a formal letter as a committee asking for answers from, whether it's Tulsi Gabbard or, whomever it is that we need to be asking these questions of, and then which would set up the potential second hearing, which would hopefully be able to include people like Tulsi Gabbard to be able to come forward. And I've been told that she's a friendly when it comes to this topic, that she wants disclosure. She wants to help bring about disclosure on this topic.
So Tulsi is not the only one. There's also the CIA director, John Ratcliffe. There's also, I've heard Kash Patel, the FBI director, talking about wanting disclosure and mentioning it. The Secretary of State has spoken a lot about disclosure and speaking to these pilots and potentially even him seeing some material. So, yeah, I mean, if you do manage to get a second hearing with people like Tulsi and those guys, that would be ideal. But I don't know if it would happen, though. It's really a tall order to get. I mean, just look at the current state of things. And I'm sorry, but I know everybody's disappointed by that certain list that was kind of scrapped. Some even saying that it's not real. That's the current state we're in. So what makes you think that they would release what presumably is the biggest secret in history? We got to be realistic, right? I mean, hopefully this happens. I am rooting for the UAP caucus. I am rooting for whatever Representative Burlison is trying to do and Ana Paulina Luna, despite us having differences when it comes to philosophy and religion and all that stuff. We do, but that doesn't mean that there's no common goal. There is. And I think we are all trying to get the same thing. Whether you believe the phenomenon is something or something else, that's a different story. But first, we got to, get the information out and see what falls where, So, yeah, of course, I am supporting this. I hope it happens. And Tulsi potentially being there, that's pretty wild. But I do want to mention something that Burleson did say here, which is an explanation of why getting a hearing under oath does wonders. Because I don't know if you heard it, but Burleson said that from those statements under oath, they would write up questions as an interrogatory for the people in power so they can now try to investigate what's going on if they're not aware of what's going on. And he was very direct. He said they have to talk about their SAPs, special access programs of UAP, sort of alluding that he thinks they already know that those exist or that they're real. And I guess that's kind of like at the bottom of all this, which is the main conversation over the past 2 weeks has been about this legacy program and about different types of narratives that are taking place right now and about different sources of information that sometimes one of them is not as real as the other one. It gets really tricky. There is a war of information going on, definitely, and it has been going on for decades. And that is at the same time the war of secrecy, that they're intertwined. So the talk about this quote unquote legacy program is what Ross Coulthard was alluding to a few days ago when he said that Congress already knows that they're being lied to. And the way I hear Burleson speaking is from a man who also knows that he's being lied to about these things. So they're taking action. And what kind of action is better than going straight to the cabinet to ask for answers? Whether they're going to give them to you or not, I am highly, highly skeptical. It's not that I don't like one party or the other. That's not important to me. I just don't trust politicians in general. And the higher the power of the politician, the less I trust them. And you don't get higher than the administration, I don't think. And if in other topics they're being so deceitful and not honest, I don't know what we would expect from this topic, which is, the one that's being hidden for nearly 80 years and ridiculed and stigmatized and filled with misinformation over decades. Sorry, I didn't want to get too pessimistic about it, but we do need to be more realistic about it. And just on the other side, I think that if we continue these conversations, that still helps though. But on the official side, I'm not sure if we're going to get any help from the current powers that be. I'm not sure. They're focused on other things. They do seem focused on other things. But we can still continue these conversations. We can keep talking about experiencers. We can keep talking about consciousness. We can continue to do events like the Archives of the Impossible, for example, or SEU or Contact in the Desert, and keep bringing the topic forward to people who don't know it. I think that's where the real battle should be right now, because trusting the government, although we are going to keep supporting for official channels to get more involved always, but right now trust in government is low. And I'm sure pretty much everybody agrees on this. If you don't, then I'm sorry, but I don't agree with you. But let me know what you think about what Burlison is saying here. Do you think he has a chance? Do you think there's no chance of him getting what he wants here? It's a tall order, as I told you, and who knows how involved the current president will become in this. Let's hope he gets involved. He hasn't shown any signs so far of getting involved in this other than those comments and different podcasts, but we need executive action for this. And that's the president. Something that I want to just finish up with. In the interview Jim Semivan did with Soul, he mentions a set of documents that were probably and potentially signed by Truman in 1947-48, which is like a presidential executive order that has the most power than any other order there is. And Semivan postulates or theorizes that when Roswell happened and this information came out at first, there is a possibility that Truman may have signed one of those orders in order to keep everything secret. And if that happened, I don't know what we can do to reverse it. Maybe an order from Trump ordering for that Truman executive order to be scrapped in some way. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But I thought that was very interesting. So if this exists, what Jim Semivan talks about, could it be possible that Trump might sign another one of those? Let's see. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too naive. Maybe you think that, but we have to remain at least a little bit hopeful after the pessimistic take that I gave you a little while ago. Sorry about that. But let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be reading. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do to help us, and it is what helps us the most. So thank you. But if you want to support us in any other way, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. And we're also on every platform, on every podcast right now, so you can go check all the interviews out. Thank you, KGRA. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Stephen Diener. Always. Bye.